In this tutorial, I will be showing you how to use the new Canvas Icon Maker. So when you're in Canvas, you can use the Icon Maker in any type of activity that uses the rich content editor. So in this case, it could be an assignment, quiz, a page, or a discussion. So I'm just going to go ahead and make a page. And I'm going to name it and you'll go ahead and open the page, assignment, whatever you've made, and you'll edit it just like you would any other type of activity. So this here is what's called the rich content editor. So the new icon feature is shown right here, and it's just shown with a few little shapes. And what you can do is click on that and you'll click create icon maker icon. Now, if you have other icons, so I've created a few others here, you can go ahead and just open that and click on these to add them. But for the purposes of this, I'll just show you how to create one. So you'll click on there and click create icon maker icon. It's a mouthful. And you'll see this tab or this window open to the right. Now this top box will be a preview of your icon. You won't see anything until you change your icon color. So I'll just change it to blue so we can see that. You'll name your icon. So this will be almost like the file name. So I'll say demo square. And then you'll want to provide some alternative text unless you just want to leave it as a decorative icon. So blue square with image. So you can choose the icon shape. So here we have a square. You can do diamond, a star, whatever you want to do. You can choose the size of the icon from extra small to large. You can choose colors, and you're restricted to a specific color palette. You may choose to outline it, and you may choose the outline color. You can add text, 32 characters of text. And again, you can change some of the features of this text by changing the size. You can change the color. You can change if there's a background color. Okay. And then you can also choose the text position. So right now it's below my icon. I could have it in the middle of my icon or the bottom third of my icon. It doesn't matter. Okay. And then finally, you can add the image. And so there's just some default icons. So there's these single color ones that are just black and white. You can also choose a multicolored image, which are kind of fun. And so you select that. And so you might consider changing your alternative text to reflect whatever you place there. Once you're happy with how your icon looks, you will click apply. And your icon will fit. So, and then we can click save, and there we go. We have our icon. So how might you use the icon in your courses? There's a few things you might do. So one is you might create icons with hyperlinks that serve as some kind of navigation. So if I go back here, and I created this other page previously, I'm going to edit it. And let me get rid of this one. And so here I might have these different icons. And what I can do is I can click on it and I can add a hyperlink to something in the course. So maybe I want to hyperlink to something in the course navigation. So in this case, the syllabus. So when students click on that icon, they'll be linked to the syllabus page. Or maybe I want to link them to the modules. So some instructors will have a home landing page, and they might have icons that link to different components of the course. So you can link to different navigation portions of the course. You could link to external links, like you could place a Zoom link, so then when students click on this icon, they're sent to the course Zoom room. You might have a link for your office hours. So when students click on that icon, they get directed to the office hours. So if I save this, now when I click on modules, that icon, it takes me to the module page. So that can be a nice user-friendly way for students to interact with your course. Other things you might use the icon maker for, if you wanted to kind of jazz up some of your pages. So let's say, for example, let me go back to this one. Let's say this is a content page, and maybe I'll edit this and make it smaller. And I'll get rid of the text. So no text. All right. So here I might have my icon. And then I might create my heading. And I'll make that bigger. So it could be a nice way to kind of add a little bit of color to your pages, add some structure, especially if you use these same headings or icons consistently. So for example, if I'm teaching a class that has lab and there's a pre-lab that students have to read, maybe every week I would have this icon with lab introduction next to it so that there's some consistency as well. You might have another icon that has something, again, I'll just use one of my pre-made icons. You might have then another icon here that's, lab assignments. And of course, you can always edit the icons if you want, and you can either do it singularly or have it apply to all instances of the course. Okay. And so now when you have your page, you can have a little bit of more color pop to break up just all of the text in your page. Almost like we sometimes suggest emojis. These icons can be used in that way. So this is how you use the Canvas Icon Maker. It's a really great way to add icons or buttons into your course directly within Canvas and not needing to use any kind of external apps or programs. So I encourage you to play around and have fun with that.